Hey everyone! In today's diary, as promised, I will compare the trading results of the very same algorithms with real money and on emulation under the exact same market conditions. A little warning though, this analysis is based on my custom-made tool, so if you are unfamiliar with it, it may get somewhat confusing. But if you feel like it, you can learn more about the tool in this playlist. Last week, after a string of losses and some evidence that the market has changed again, I decided to pause, observe, and adapt. From experience, we all know that emulation is overly optimistic. But exactly how much? All will be revealed in this video. Ultimately, I'm trying to figure out whether gathering stats on emulation is representative enough, or whether whatever losses I may suffer with real data gathering algos could be made up for with better quality of data. So the analysis will be slanted towards that particular purpose. On the left we have the funded account doing real trading on active markets, and on the right the emulated account. Just by looking at the reports for one day, we straight away see a substantial difference, both in the number of trades and in the list of trades themselves. But let's do a proper analysis. For that, I ran both sets of algorithms for 1 week, then put the results into one single spreadsheet, marking each trade as either real or emulated. Then I identified duplicate trades, which happened on both accounts at the same time on the same coin and the same side, then marked them as duplicate. The rest are marked unique. The overall results for real trades are on the left here, and the emulation is on the right. Instead of looking at the whole thing like this, I have collated the results into one convenient table. So let's take a look. Throughout the rest of the video, anything related to real trades will be in light blue, and anything emulated will be this yellowish color. The overall number of trades on real algos was surprisingly almost twice as large. I believe this is due to the latency that the real trades are dealing with when instructing the exchange to move the limit order with the price movement, which is not accounted for in emulation. The number of duplicate trades was 214. Weirdly enough, in the emulator I have 215, and that is because on emulation one particular trade was reported twice at exactly the same time on the same coin and same side. Oh well. Data is data, so there's nothing I can do about it. Of those overlapping trades, 189 had exactly the same outcome in terms of both being a profit or a loss. And the remaining 25 duplicate trades had different outcomes. Of them, the real trades had only 6 profits and 19 losses. On the emulator, it was the reverse. This is one of those points where the emulator is shown to be more optimistic. Now, in terms of unique trades, the real algorithms are far ahead. 371 versus just 77, almost 5 times more unique trades than the emulator. The total number of coins traded in real algorithms was 83 versus only 66 on emulator, which is 26% better. The real algos had 17 unique coins, meaning that the emulator did not have any trades at all on these coins, while the emulator had only 1 unique coin, which the real algos did not get to. Therefore, we can say that the real algos gather significantly more data in general and unique data in particular. And it also has a bit of a bias towards losses on the same shots. But overall, the best of the two in these metrics is always the real algorithm. The PnL on emulation is 66 times better than on real trades. What a surprise that is. Of course, real trades require fees, and even if we factor these in, the real trades are also losing. The total fees paid are 4.5 USDT. Same story with ROE. The emulator is 68 times better. Now, the difference in profit-to-loss ratio is not so dramatic, but the emulator clearly looks better because it has much larger average takes. The average stop level is surprisingly similar. The average time to close the trade is clearly better on emulation, 3 seconds versus 5. In this set of metrics, the emulator seems better, but we all know why. It does not pay fees, it does not deal with latency, and these are exactly the measures of how optimistic emulation actually is. It is over 60 times as optimistic as reality. If you did not know, now you know. Alright, what does that all mean for my whitelist generator? To find out, I did a test of 3 scenarios, where I applied 3 different sets of criteria to real data and emulated data, and compared the output. You can read through the different stats if you like, I'll just tell you what seemed most interesting to me. The real algorithms seem to always suggest more orders to be placed. This, of course, is a reflection of the much larger set of data that it is working with. Secondly, the overlap between the suggested orders is in the ballpark of 40 to 50%, meaning that of the total real orders, the emulator suggests exactly the same, more or less half of the time. Now let's look at unique suggestions on both sides, meaning that only one party suggested it while the other party did not. There are quite a few unique orders, so to gauge the quality, I decided to break down one scenario in detail, this one. Here we arrive at another table. In the top part, we have unique suggestions from the real generator, where I compare each criteria to the respective lines in the emulated generator. And the same in the bottom half, but reversed. I'm checking the unique emulated suggestions against reality. In red, I am showing what prevented this specific order from being selected by the generator. In the top part, the emulated selections mostly fail to meet the number of trades criteria. This means that if I had slightly more relaxed criteria on the number of trades, then the emulator would have essentially confirmed what had already been known based on real trades. So there is no value added really. Now we have a different story in the unique emulated orders. Here the emulator promises, for example, that these 4 coins are each a gold mine, but reality begs to differ quite a lot. The conclusion from this part of the table is that the emulator either reconfirms what is known to the real algos already, or seriously misleads with its suggestions. And here is what I've concluded so far. Basically, the most surprising thing was that the real algorithms collect significantly more data, and they provide a more realistic picture of the trades in the market and do not seem to give false positives, unlike the emulator. On the other hand, there is a real price to be paid for collecting data in this way. Overall, while preparing this analysis, I've lost another 5 USDT on the active markets collecting data. Is the price paid worth having more reliable data? You tell me. I guess it should be. Also, this approach requires more funded accounts. If I wanted to continue data gathering in this way, I'd have to have another one to do the real trading on whitelists. But I've been feeling quite significantly limited and tied down by only one real account anyway. As for the benefits of emulation, well, it's free of course, and the overlap with reality is about 50% for the purposes of my whitelist generator. It's neither here nor there. The downside of emulation is less trades data, false positives, extreme over-optimism in terms of PnL and ROE, plus it would be harder for me to collate the real and emulated results into some coherent output, as opposed to dealing with only one type of data source. So let's see what I can do with this next time.